The first project of the DCU is here. Hello everybody, my name is Jesse and welcome to my channel. James Gunn's first DCU project, Creature Commandos, is finally out. I was able to finish it up yesterday, so today I'm going to give you my full thoughts on this show. And I will just say it right up front, I absolutely loved this show. Within the first episode, I was absolutely hooked, and I think there were a lot of different things in this show that really were a big strength for it. So let's get into it. The first one being the animation. I thought it was, I didn't know how to feel about this show being animated going in, and I really did think that it was a big strength and was actually for the better. There were a lot of different things, especially from character design to violence, that I just don't think would have worked as well in live action. I think two specific characters, Nina and Dr. Phosphorus, really probably wouldn't have worked in live action. The designs probably would have looked pretty weird. Not to mention some of the action scenes, the violence would have made it very expensive, and I think there is some certain violence here and there throughout every episode that either wouldn't have worked in live action, or it just probably would have been way too much to actually see it. James Gunn has his signature comic book style here, and he absolutely nails it. I think this is a fantastic start to this DCU universe. And what I really loved about this show, and is really what you would come to expect by now from James Gunn with his absolutely brilliant writing, is he does it again. He shows off his superpower once again to take a group of oddball characters that nobody has heard of, nobody knows anything about. There's only one character in this show of the actual team that we already know, Weasel. He's the only one. And by the end, he makes you understand them, and he makes you care for them. He makes you root for them in those final episodes. He truly takes his time with each character. Every single episode it really focuses on a different character's backstory. And it's interesting to use the term taking his time here, because the episodes are only 22. I think the longest episode in this season is the last episode. It's only 28 minutes long. So this show really flies by. Every episode flies by, and yet you still feel like you understand these characters, you feel for them, and there's some truly tragic circumstances that all of these characters have been through. There are some gut-wrenching backstory moments with these characters that just are so well done, so well written. I loved it. The voice acting is fantastic. Alan Tudyk as Dr. Phosphorus was probably my favorite. David Harbour plays Frankenstein. He was great. Frank Grillo as Rick Flag Sr. was fantastic. So I think just overall, every character in this show was so well done. And like you said, you just come to love all of them by the end. Now, this is a spoiler, so if you haven't seen this show yet, even though it's been out for a while, you want to avoid all spoilers, skip to this time code if you want to avoid it. But not every character makes out of this season alive. There are a few deaths here and there, and because of those backstories, because we've come to understand and feel for these characters, when those moments happen, they hit so much harder, they're so much more emotional, and it really adds depth to this show. It's like when you think of James Gunn, you do think, comedy, there's a lot of jokes, and there is that here. Every moment, every character has their moment to say a funny line, make us chuckle, add some lightheartedness to the show. But at the same time, it is a tragedy, it's a drama, and just all of those moments do add so much depth to the characters in the show, and I really liked that. As per usual with James Gunn, the soundtrack is absolutely amazing. He knows how to pick the perfect song to fit the vibe of a scene, and that is still very present here. I don't know if there was a single song in this show that I had ever heard before, but even with not knowing any of the music, I could still tell that the song perfectly fit the vibe of the scene, and that's what I love about James Gunn. He's so good at doing that, and that's kind of his style with a lot of his movies. So that's still present here, and it's awesome. So overall, this show was a huge win for DC. I absolutely loved it. And actually, one last thing. Unlike Squid Game Season 2, you check out my review for that in the link in the description below. This season told a complete story. It's not unsatisfying in any way. It's only 7 episodes long. By the time you get to the end of that 7th season, the story is complete, and they could be setting it up for a season 2, and I would be totally here for it. But even if a season 2 never happened, this season tells a story on its own. It's satisfying, and I would be happy just having to live with these 7 episodes forever. So those are my thoughts on this show. I absolutely loved it. What do you think of Creature Commandos? If you've seen it, let me know down in the comments below, and stay tuned for the rest of a bunch of other videos coming soon. Until then, like this one, subscribe to my channel, and keep watching movies and TV.